This meeting is being recorded.
See so many familiar faces. Hello, hello. Give a chance. Hi, hey Sylvia. Love to see your face. If you want to come on camera, give me a shout out. Give me a hello. Hey, Sharon.
Hello.
Hi, Jen. Hey, hi, Jewel. Hey, Lexi. I just feel so much love. Hi. In the chat, just where you are in the world. Pragati, hi, I'm so glad you made it. We made it. We're here. Happy Wednesday. Hi. Randy. Looks like you're Well, welcome. I'm so passion in this work. I am trauma informed and I'm a psychic. So it doesn't mean I'm reading exactly what you're thinking right now, but it's a big part that I love about, I think what helps me get right to the core, like I did yesterday, like I did today with my hypnotherapy clients, where we just like nail it. We get right to the thing. We're not beating around the bush. We're like, this, let's get to this. So, and that can help with resolving a lot of the energetics that's holding us back. So, and you know, in my story, the truth is that I think I spent a lot of time playing smaller, selling myself short, you know, not believing that I could be at the success level that I said I wanted, which I am now doing and moving towards even more. You know, some of you have talked about this with, you know, when I first started out, I didn't really have a lot of guidance. And so I just started really small and, again, throwing spaghetti at the wall. And then, you know, through being an intuitive, I really found I cracked open this sort of method, right? That I found was working for my clients. Like, are we in energetic alignment with what we say we desire? If not, is there something that's holding us back? Is there some money story from our parents? Is there something ancestral that's holding us back to keep us from really aligning? Sometimes we're in a job that we're not aligned with. We're in a relationship we're not aligned with, right? We're afraid to release it because we don't know what's on the other side. So this rapid release practice is where we do hypnotherapy. We go into the Akashic records, our soul's library, and we release it. I'm going to talk to you about what I released this past year. You're going to get all of it. Then we take embodied action. To me, this is what we're going to talk about here. I hope that what we go through is going to save you some time and energy with kind of some shiny objects. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. So you'll have to let me know if that helps you. And then what I found is having accountability to scale, like really getting clear on, this is my quarterly plan. Having someone in your back pocket to help you with that accountability. So that's kind of a method that I found. I've seen clients get into energy alignment and then boom, they've manifested something. They clear out something and then boom, investment house they were trying to sell, they get the offer and it goes through, right? The clients come through. It's like, okay. And then let's get into embodied action with consistency. So it's not just like a one and done, it's consistent. And that's kind of why we're here together, because I have come into a place where I went from, you know, just to be honest, some 10K, 14K months, but it wasn't consistent. The first of the month would roll around and I'd be like, okay, how is this going to happen this month? I just didn't really have it nailed down. And it didn't feel good. It didn't really feel like a business. I can't say I was shy of $100,000 years. It's kind of like a marker, 6-figure, but I couldn't quite pass over that border. And in kind of figuring this out and cracking some of the strategy and energetics, which I will share with you, this is what I've been able to do. And it's been consistent, over 20K. Even last month when I went on vacation, this month my kids are off of school and I have made over $21,000 in cash. Cash has come in this month. So that feels really good. I've had other opportunities come in, like manifesting. Oh, I'd love to do a retreat for somebody like Google. And look at that. I did a retreat for somebody like Google. And then also my clients who, you know, helping see their success, because that's what it's all about. That's why I'm here. So what we're going to go through is this consistency that I'm talking about in strategy, plus the mistake I typically see when I'm talking with entrepreneurs who are making consistently under 10K monthly, what I did to energetically clear, and then like a really simple content to client connection piece, because that I feel like is something that's missing a lot in our content strategy and what we're putting out there. I'm assuming most of us are putting something out there on something like Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram to attract some clients, or maybe we've tried it, we haven't had success, so we're just not really doing it, but I've got some ideas here. So sound good? Yeah, okay. So the first thing is this idea of like having energetic alignment and strategy really is the formula for success. So let's take the first stage of like, let's say we have strategy, and just maybe put in the comments if you have tried a certain strategy, you feel like you actually feel right now like you do have a good strategy, but perhaps maybe you don't have the energetic alignment. And what that can look like is you've been given the strategy, but for some reason, maybe you're resisting it or it's not working for you. And typically that's because there's either a lack of belief that you can have what you want that's keeping it from working for you, or there's something that it will mean if you have the success. Like I worked with someone who he wanted to move from 50K months to $100,000 months. And he was afraid that if he did that, he would lose like his friendships. He would lose connection with people who he really cared about. And so he wouldn't let himself do it. And so once we had our session, we cracked that open. He pretty quickly went into making $300,000 through an event. Yay, right? I love it, Randy. The body language helps. Like we're on board. So that's just an example, right, of having the strategy but not having the energetic alignment. And so maybe you can relate to this. What I typically see is we sabotage, or we procrastinate, or we're busy, or we've got to do this, or we're just getting inconsistent results, right? We're not getting the results we say we really want. This is opposite. Yeah. So the next phase is that we have the energetic alignment. We have the belief. We're like, I can see it. I can taste it. I can see the 20K months. I can see the $1 million year. I know it's mine. But maybe we don't have the right strategy for us. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I think this is going to relate to some of what Pragati was talking about, just in terms of some ideas. There's a lot of strategies out there, right? You can get overwhelmed with all the strategies. I don't know about you, but I get a lot of Facebook ads that want me to do this strategy and that strategy and this work, and you can work 4 hours in a week and make a gajillion dollars. And they all sound really nice, right? But at the end of the day, is it the strategy for me? How many hours do I want to be working? Maybe I want to work 100 hours a week. If I do, I can. Maybe I'd like to do some other stuff with my time. Maybe I'd like to go put my feet in the ocean. And I don't have to kind of buy into this very like corporate sided culture, right? This very mechanical culture where we have to work a certain amount of time and it means something. What if with right strategy and energetics, we can quantum leap sometimes too? So it might be the wrong strategy for you. Like if you're trying what it looks like that others are doing, well, they're doing this, so I should do it too. Maybe I hate going live on Facebook. Well, then guess what? You don't have to. Oh, but that works. Oh, they said it works. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do it. Maybe it shows up inconsistently, or maybe, we're just trying a bunch of different things. We buy these small courses, these little courses here and there, thinking that's going to solve it, right? I don't know if you've ever done that, but I have a lot of $7 things I've never looked at. I will tell you that. So this is an example, right? So let's take Sally. Let's take Sally. Maybe you know a Sally. I don't know a Sally, so I use that name. So Sally is a coach. She wants 10K months. It's supposed to be 10K. This is so funny. I do this all the time with my husband. I'll say a number and he's like, you don't mean that number. She currently is doing like 2K to 5K, occasionally 10K. Sorry if I have any typos here, but she's focused on low ticket membership and courses. So let's do some math. Let's figure it out. Okay, she wants to make 10K a month. Let's say she's got a $30 membership. It's very reasonable. I already did the math for you. Every month, she needs to get paid by 167 people to make half of that total, to make $5,000, right? Okay, so if you're looking at that, I'm not saying don't do a membership. I had a lovely membership for a very long time. I love my membership. I love the people in it. Could doing that model?
Stephanie, don't you intend to share your screen?
I do. I am sharing it. Can no one see this?
Yes, I
Randy
don't.
can see it. Lexi can see it. Patricia cannot see
I
it.
can see it.
Ah,
Okay.
that's
I can always share the slides with you later too, Patricia. I think if anyone else can't see it, let me know. But that has been the idea. Okay, you can see it. Okay. Or you can go out and come back.
You have to be on off of gallery view and be on speaker view.
Oh,
yes.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Should I just spotlight it for everyone? Maybe I just do that. Okay. Patricia, can you see it now?
I can see myself.
You can see yourself. Maybe play around with your view, you know, and see if that works. I just tried to.
You have to mute yourself and be out on speaker view.
Speaker view. Thank you.
Or side by side.
Pin. I'm going to pin this to see if that helps. Remove all spotlighted videos for everyone. Let me just try this. Is that helping? Can we see me? Can everyone see it now still?
I can still see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but maybe play around with it, Patricia, and if not, I'll just always send this to you.
Anyway, I know you, Stephanie.
I know.
So
That's
okay.
That's all right. But yeah, we're just doing some math here. So let's just say that you've got a course and you're selling 10 a month, right? 10 courses a month, then you'll get your $5,000. This is just doing like, let's say you take 2 months off. It sounds nice, right? Let's take 2 months off. So 10K for the year. Just trying to keep it really simple. So the thing about this is, what I don't love about this is it requires really high volume. And unless you're already in a place where you've got like 100,000 followers on TikTok, you know, it takes a lot of time to have people see you that many times to get you into this membership. Maybe it requires an ad strategy that you're willing to pay for. That's an actual strategy. You're working with an actual ad strategy team, right? Or you have a team so that you can put out that much content to get that many people monthly into your container. It's not doable. It's just that, does this match up and align with the type of time that I want to be putting into my business? So that's just an example to me of like, it sounds like a good idea, but it might be misaligned strategy. Does that kind of resonate? Yeah. Okay. So what I have seen to work consistently, kind of, this is where I'm talking about this content to client connection, is to create what we call like an ascension model. And you can just let me know in the comments if that sounds familiar. Like, does it sound familiar to talk about an ascension model, which is basically just taking people from free to paid? Yeah, Sylvia's on it. You know about that. Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking back through some of your comments there too. Yeah, customer's journey, exactly. Yes, you can call it different things. So what I've seen to work really well is this client attraction system, which is all about connection. It's not like as soon as you enter my world, I'm just going to sell you something. Like, let me know if you've ever, you know, just been in the DMs and someone friends you and like immediately they're like, oh, I got this and that and the other thing and come join my group and blah, blah. Just like throw up on you. It's like you almost expect it, right? So I see Jen nodding. I see Randy nodding. I don't love that. I don't feel like I'm a very salesy person. I like people just to be attracted to what we're doing and they want to, you know, they're enjoying it. Also, this whole thing with selling on your page, right? This is something that I talk with people about, and like sometimes like they don't want to, they've got, and in fact, you don't have to be selling on your page. There's a difference between like constantly posting like, oh, I'm selling this is what's happening, which to me isn't really a lot of connection. It's just like, it's an ad, right? You can do that, it can work. But what I'm trying to say is, what if we had a system that was really all about connection, which at the end of the day is what I love. I love connecting with all of you. That's where a lot of us, we've already spent a bunch of time together. You know, we already are connected. I love that we can connect in the DMs. and that I can actually really be of service to you in the DMs. I'm not looking for anything from you. I can be of service. And then through this client attraction system, I can host a free event like we're doing right now, or like a challenge. And then we can get to know each other better. Because to be honest, for me to like invest in you, like I want to know what you're about. I want to know that I can trust you. Do I know you? Do I like you? Do I trust you? Right? It's like any relationship. I mean, you know, maybe when we were 3, we would meet in the playground and say, do you want to be my friend? And you say, okay, you go off and be friends. You remember doing that? It was so nice. But no, it might take a little bit more, you know. I'd like for us to, I want you to trust me. I'd like for us to know each other if we're going to work together. And then what this can lead to is a call that is adding value. And I feel like when I cracked open this one, this was everything. Because when I get on a call with someone now, I'm here to find out exactly where they're at, exactly what they're missing, and to give them immediate value. And that's exactly the feedback that I get. But regardless of what we do together, it's immeasurable value. Like that's the kind of sales call I would like to be having, so to speak. That's the kind of time I'd like to be spending with someone, is giving them value. And what I've found with this call is this visual element is incredibly impactful because, you know, we talk, there's a lot going on, we're trying to process, but when we can see it in front of us, it's a completely different story. And Dawn, I see you kind of nodding your head too. In Lake San Marcos, shout out to the neighborhood. Yeah. So I'd like to just kind of pause for a moment and just kind of take any sort of feedback you have on this. Have you tried any of this? Have you seen any of this working for you? Are you intrigued by any of this? What's your sense of what we just kind of gone through? We've gone through the energetics, right? And then an idea of what can work consistently in terms of this content to client connection. And you're welcome to go off mute if you want to, or just kind of put anything in the chat if you want. The 1K value strategy call. Yes, Sylvia. So because of, you know, we have an hour here, that is something that, you know, we can meet one-on-one if you want to. We can always do that. And we can also, sorry. I have this boot camp coming up where we're going to talk about that as well. It was called something else when you worked for BMS. Okay, yeah, it might be called something else. And Randy, I'd be curious, like what you do too.
So, Bristol Myers Squibb, a long time ago, a very long time ago. Claire, I've been in the beauty industry 34 years. It was the client, building client relationship.
Mhm.
It was all about the relationship, period.
Yeah.
It was called relationship selling.
Yeah.
You know, ascension model might be called something, you know, as plain as the sales term called upselling, you know. How do I get my foot in the door? How do I get past the receptionist? How do I, you know, like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's also kind of like the journey the client's taking. So, you know, the ascension model, yeah.
And the journey of the salesperson as well. And the connection, because once you're connected, you rock. I mean, hair color and, you know,
yeah.
I made a difference for 4 weeks.
Yeah, right. It's like we make a difference in each other's lives. So it's sort of the ascension model is the journey from like free to maybe like a smaller group program or like a higher ticket one-on-one program. It's like, what is the journey? And this is where I actually appreciate you mentioning this, because another thing that I've seen is people stall out. So, and I might have made a slide on this, but basically what I'm trying to say is that you might have like a membership, but where else can they go from there? That might be it. Or you might have a sales call and you might be like, oh, that's it. But if we are not tracking, then we might see that that person might actually be interested. They might just need a little more time or information or another free event. So we kind of keep them in the system just with invitation. Well, come to the next free event. You are more than welcome. Then we're just sort of like in relationship. We're building a relationship. We are connecting. I think, it's like when you're looking to make friends, you don't meet once and then just like, that's it, right? Like you have other stuff you do together. So it doesn't mean that every single person is going to be your friend, but you create other opportunities to generate like a deeper relationship. So I think that's another piece that I wanted to mention that I see. It's like, where are people going with you? Is there some place that, I have clients, we've worked together for years now, right? They're like, what's next? So, so working consistently, there's just some examples, right, of the flow, right? One is like the post. For me, I used to be like, posting, I don't know, until I got really clear on a certain method of posting. And we'll do this in the boot camp too. You'll actually walk away with posts that are going to get you feedback. So the posts where I am just connecting, I'm not selling you anything, there's no call to action, I'm just posting. I'm not throwing up a bunch of stuff from other people on my page. Now maybe I have a call to action post. So now you see what's going on in my world. I'm offering something for you. Let me get together and we do something. It might be a free call, it might be a freebie, it might be something like this. That might lead you directly. I should have put another little line here. That post might lead you directly to a sale. It might lead you to this strategy call, this visual strategy call. And then that might lead you to the sale, or if it not, then this is part of the cycle. Well, you can invite them to something else. Invite them to, well, here's a free thing if you want to check this out. This might help you. Some lower ticket thing. There might be some free event coming up. Like, oh, you can't make this? Okay, cool. You're not into this right now? No problem. Like, you want to try check this out? Like, clearly we're connecting for a reason. Let's see like what else we can do together in this world. I feel like it's like a little bit less myopic than like, oh, it has to just, we're done. Or it has to just go here, right? And then also what's working consistently is this invitation to the free event. So right here, I kind of posted it here, invitation to the free event. They might purchase at the event. You have a sale, you have a connection, you have a relationship, a deeper relationship. They might come to your strategy call, right? This is like the little flow of it. They might say, yes, it's a sale. No, invite them to the next event. I think what this does, it takes a little bit of the pressure out. Like, oh, I have a system. I have a system that when I implement this system, it's going to produce me some results. And when I track those results, I can actually see how much activity am I actually doing versus thinking about it. What is my rate of return? What is actually happening? Are people signing up? Am I missing something? Because then I can go to that spot. This is what I did this past year. I looked at one point, I had like all sorts of new people coming in for free calls, but they were sort of cold. They were coming off of YouTube or maybe off of some Facebook thing or wherever, maybe some seminar I had done, but they weren't like that warm, so to speak, right? They had like maybe one thing with me. And so what I noticed was we weren't really going anywhere. I was missing something in my sales call. And I know I've talked about this. It's probably like, well, what do you mean? So I'll see what time we have to kind of dive in a little bit more to this visual strategy call. But I will say that like when I shifted that call and I provided that value, it made an incredible difference. The thing that had been happening is people who had been in my world for a long time, or I've been a teacher on Insight Timer, I was going live, people were showing up on my Insight Timer lives frequently, and so we get to know each other. So by the time they showed up with a call with me, they were just ready. Like I noticed this difference, and I was like, okay, people who have had a lot of time with me, when they show up for a call, they know they want to work with me. But people who have had like a one-off experience, they probably just need to like get to know me a little bit better. So when I realized that, I got better at the sales call, and I also started implementing more of these sort of like free opportunities. So we can hang out together and see what it's like to be in each other's worlds. And that to me became a system. This is a business. This is no longer like, well, let me try this. Let me buy this program. And then, oh, now they say if I do, what is that called? It's like this new thing where everyone's selling like digital marketing rights resale. I don't know. It's like, you can do that, but is that soul aligned? Do you have to do that, or do you just feel desperate? And that's why you're like, oh, well, it's working for them. I see everything they're saying. Oh, I'm going to do that too. Well, does it feel alive in your body and in your bones? So when we kind of pair this, right, we have energetic alignment, and I want to talk in a minute about what happened for me for energetic alignment, and I have strategy, then I've got a consistent plan. I can do my energy upgrades as needed. I can have my quarterly plan. Am I doing the activities? Am I not? I love having accountability. I can have accountability with the group, with the coach, with myself, with the buddy. This kind of goes back to what I was showing you here. Energy aligned. Am I clear on what I really want? Am I doing things that I feel like I have to do? Is it really getting me where I want it to take me? Am I holding on to something where I really need like a little bit of release? Do I not really believe in myself? Am I holding on to some ancestral tether around money, right? What is my action plan? What actions am I actually taking? What does that look like for me? Am I filling my days with a lot of stuff I don't need to be doing? What are those actions that are right and aligned for me versus going off and buying digital resale rights? And hey, if you love that, then great. But do I have accountability? Am I looking at my numbers? Am I looking at like, well, what is actually working? What might I need to tweak, because it's not necessarily the whole strategy. It may be one piece of the strategy that could be just tweaked a little bit that could work better. So again, let me scroll forward here, see where we're at. Just take a minute. Any questions about this so far? Strategy call, discovery call. Yeah, I mean, Sharon, we can call these whatever we want. We can call it like I've called like energy alignment call. It's just whatever's aligning for you. That's the fun of it. You can call it whatever you want. So any questions so far? Yes, no? Okay. So if not, let's keep going. I would love to kind of, at this point, just sort of, you know what, let me kind of talk to you really quick about this, and then I'm going to ask you a question for your own inventory. So we kind of talked a little bit about what I've seen or when I talk to people, like maybe what isn't working or what's keeping people stuck. It's maybe a little bit of what we already mentioned, but this sort of misaligned strategy to actually reach your goals, like Sally and her experience. It could be sometimes an energy block or a fear. It could be like a lack of a consistent plan. Maybe it's a lack of implementation. We have the plan, but it's so overwhelming. Like I was in a coaching situation where I felt like I got like so many things all at once. I just got overwhelmed, and then I wasn't honestly doing much of anything. So it's on me. I wasn't taking action, but I realized like the way it was occurring, it was just like I was just getting flooded. Lack of aligned action. Like there was a time when I was just posting a lot on Facebook, but it wasn't getting me any traction. So if I had just sort of stopped and said like, okay, I'm gonna like look at this, like what's not working about this, it probably would have helped me save time. And then also this just idea of these shiny objects where like, oh, I'm gonna try this course next, let me try that next. Like when we can really lean in to a strategy that we know is vetted, that we know can work for us, then let's kind of like, let's take 3 months. If we do it consistently, let's take 6 months, let's do it consistently. Then let's see the results. Especially when we can kind of like, when we do it that way, we can be curious, right? This is where it's a business, it's curious. You talk to 10 people, maybe 5 people are stoked to work with you, right? Maybe 6 people are, maybe all 10 people are. It's all information. Maybe 0 people say yes. I was having calls and 0 people were saying yes, and I figured out why. I figured out what I was missing, right? I was having calls and people were saying yes. I figured it was because of the connection. I understood it. When I understood it, there's nothing wrong with my coaching. It was just the missing piece to the puzzle, you know? So can anyone relate? And it's fine. Like we're just all, well, I can't say we're all friends yet here, but I think we're all in a like-minded community. Can anyone relate to any of these things? Like, can you relate to something like, you know what, I can kind of take a moment and see that I'm not sure my strategy is the right one. Look, me selling a $33 membership was not going to get me to a 6-figure year in and of itself, right? I'm going to talk next about my energy blocks, so stay tuned. This is the juicy part. Is it something in your plan? Are you being consistent with your plan? Do you like your plan? Looking for what's missing makes a difference. Yes. You got it, Randy. Thank you. What about implementation? Do you have the tools, but you're just not doing it? Is that related to your fears? Are you not implementing because you actually are afraid of something? Do you feel like you bopped around to different things? So yeah, just kind of a little feedback here. You're welcome to speak it out loud, but don't be afraid. It's okay to own it.
I will.
Randy, yeah.
Working on my beliefs around the whole intuitive arts, let's call it, or money, or my family has a long-standing conversation for, oh, they took advantage of me, so they don't take actions, or they take actions and then they regret. And so like identifying those that would fall under energy blocks, fears, and then it is kind of a loop if you don't discover those things, right? So I've taken a lot of courses and I've dismantled a lot of stuff, and fear will always be there.
You were right about that. Yes, thank you. Okay,
so take action.
I feel like I hired you to be part of this because you're literally leading me into the next thing. So thank you for sharing that. I kind of want to bring that into our next thing, unless there's any other comments here. It's a really great reflection. And the big energy shift. And I know I mentioned hypnosis. I know I mentioned Akashic records. Some of you have experienced those with me. You can feel free to put in the comments anything that you experience, any shifts that you experience through doing that. What happened for me this past year in January is I was like, okay, I've had a few years now where I've made it up to like 80,000 and I'm ready to go beyond that. What the heck, man? Like, well, let's do it. So I got really clear, like I want this. And it really felt like a big shift for me, just with my own upbringing or beliefs about myself, to be that person who would actually be making, the first step for me was the 20K months. That felt like something, right? Consistent, not just like here and there. And that's exactly what's happening. And what I realized last summer, a year ago, was how I'm going to be completely honest with you here. It doesn't feel great to say this. I'm a 50-year-old woman, but I felt tethered to my parents' love through what they quote unquote could provide for me monetarily, or my family, that could feel obvious, but they don't. And what I realized is that exact tether of what's that called when you feel entitled, right? That whatever it is, entitlement, or this is love, or was the exact thing that was like a rubber band, like pulling me back from actually launching and leaping into the leader and adult woman who I am as a mother of my family, to provide for us at the level that I know I am able to. And when I realized that, what started happening? I started to get information. I'm getting chills right now. My aunt calls me and she's like, oh yeah, your great grandfather donated money to the church instead of giving it to the family. Or no, not money, land in Long Island. And I'm like, okay, this is an ancestral pattern. All right, what else? Then I realized that our family in Long Island were like some of the first settlers in the 1600s. And I'm like, what the heck, man? How do we not have anything? Why does nobody own any land? What's going on? And I feel like that knowledge came up so I could really free myself from that tether, so I could. And Randy, what you said is spot on, because now that I'm at the 20K mark, I hit it and I'm like, it honestly felt kind of neutral in a weird way. You think you're going to celebrate and you're like, oh, okay. And so for me, what I realize is it's a passageway, it's a portal, because, and I will just say this because I'm going to have honest and open conversations around money, because money is something that I think should be able to and lovingly have open and honest conversations around, right? So if you're sitting at a table with a bunch of high-end CEOs, they probably would throw around numbers way greater than this without a problem. But why not we? Why not we? So for me, I am headed towards $100,000 a month, and I will own that, and I will say that in front of all of you. You can believe what you want about it. It's not up to me to understand what you're going to think or say about that. But for me, this is a passageway. And what I realized is that in the passage to the $100,000 a month, there is another portal to move through. And that portal contains a deep pain. And I uncovered this deep pain on Sunday, talking to my friend after my workout over coffee. And I cried a deep cry within when I felt what it was. And for me, it was from being a young child and always getting the message of being one under, one beneath, one lesser than. So how could I be the leader in my family? How could I be the person who's making that amount of money if I'm supposed to be the person who's under, who there's always going to be some layer above, right? When I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to go into the Akashic records with my young self to help heal that. Even recognizing it is part of the healing, seeing it's part of the healing. So I see some of you nodding because again, I can tell you probably have gone through something similar to that too. So I think what I'm trying to say is that, and whatever level we're at, there's typically, because we are moving to another level and we are passing through that portal, there's probably something we're going to release to get there. There's probably going to be that next layer. And for me, it becomes, yeah, I see you, Patricia. It thumbs up delightful because I'm like, sweet, bring it. Let me feel it. The stuff that I had to feel around my parents, I let myself feel it, right? I let myself go there. And I know what it felt like when I was still tethered to it. And I can tell you with an open heart that right now, as I sit here, I am free from it. I'm free. It no longer has any impact on me. I love them and I'm free from that. And it feels amazing. And it's allowing me to move to these next levels. So that was a big energy shift for me. And I will say the tools that I have noticed that have been incredibly impactful are going into the Akashic records, which for me, I go in as a way shower with you. You're there and you're experiencing what you need to experience. See, I'm there hearing, witnessing, being available to help you move through it. Incredible stuff happening in there, plus hypnosis. Because through hypnosis, and some of you have gone through it, or some of you are Jen's a hypnotherapist. What we're doing is we are kind of rewriting that programming into the subconscious mind. And in the work that I do as an intuitive, we go a little deeper. We go into that place of our energetics, like of our chakras, of our ancestry, potentially of our past lives. So those are some of the methods that have really worked for me. So that said, can anyone relate to that just in terms of, the energy shifts, or perhaps you feel like you're ready for an energy shift, or you've gone through a deep energy shift? Yeah. Randy, you feel like you're ready? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty is when we know that, it's empowering. There's no longer that's holding us, because we have tools, like we can get excited about it because it is the thing that's going to help shift us into that next level where we can hold ourselves. We can be the person who's taking those actions, who's doing those things, who can match the strategy. It's a new world, Sylvia. Yes, they do. They do, Lexi. Exactly. Yes. All said with love. All said with love. Money is very tied to love. Yeah, isn't it interesting? Right. So why not fall in love with money? So I'd say, kind of reiterate some of what we've been talking about. These challenges to achieving our goals is the clarity, the strategy, the beliefs, the systems, and the community and support that I've noticed. If one of those is missing, it's a little wonky. And then these would be my tips coming off of this is one, shifting into that place of belief, right? And if we don't quite believe it, that's okay. Just acknowledging, like, what would it take? What would I need to believe that this is possible for me? It's a different thing. We know it. We see it outside of ourselves. The hypnosis, I feel, is very helpful in that. Shifting limiting beliefs. Again, the hypnosis is super helpful. energetically aligning with the big vision, and then taking that embodied action, right? That aligned action, and then just receiving support. Because I know I've gone a lot faster when I've had a team behind me or a coach with me than I have by myself. Because I can just trip myself up. So again, we kind of look back at this method. You know, this is a method that I feel like I've done this enough with clients and with myself that this is what I've sort of come up with that seems to work. You know, is coming into that energy alignment, having that rapid release practice, taking embodied action, and having the accountability. So I would love to see in the chat for you, as you were to look at these, where do you feel like you're at? If they're, it might be everything, it might be one thing. If you were to say something stands out, like, you know what, this is what I feel like would, and you may not know, it's fine too. I feel like I really need clarity. Like I've been doing this, but I feel overwhelmed and all these different directions. I could really use some clarity. Maybe it's like, oh, I know I have this one, this fear, this like lingering thing, maybe from ancestry. I know I need to clear that. Perhaps it's that I just need to have a really good strategy for me, embodied action. Or maybe it's like, oh, I really need someone in my court. I need some accountability. So where do you feel like you're at? You're welcome to put it in the chat. You can go off mute if you want. Jen, I see you moving between 2 and 3. Yeah. Well, the beauty is you've got me, so that's good to know. We can do that. I'm curious for you, Dawn, if you wanted to, if you feel comfortable going off mute, what is it for you? If you can, if you're in a good spot to do it. Oh, you're still on mute. There.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, my dad's dog just started barking right then. I was like,
of course, right?
like I'm gonna be quiet because he's got a high-pitched bark as the UPS driver drives by.
Oh, it's okay. Zoom mutes out a lot of stuff, so I don't hear it at all. It's okay.
Okay, good. Actually, it's kind of like the whole thing, I guess you could say. So, I guess I'm revamping my game plan and trying to figure out what I really, really want to do. So, oh, what did Randy say? Randy's my friend, so I told him about this.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here together. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of saying a little revamp. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of what he said too. Yeah, it's one and done. Yeah. Discovering all of it. So yeah, and actually while I was sitting here, I was kind of like thinking, something from the past kind of just popped up for me too. Like I was thinking in the past about doing like soul portraits too, because I also am a psychic and a medium. And it's so funny, just this, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, just this weekend when I read for a friend of mine, she actually called me the very next day and she said, oh my gosh, what you told me happened word for word. She's like, I kid you not. This guy told me, you said it would be just right around the corner. And he said what you said word for word. Exactly. She's like, I cannot believe it. He said, it's like the paperwork is going to be filed on January 1st because of taxes. And that's exactly what you told me, word for word. I can't believe it. She was just like stunned. I said, well, that's like the 4th or 5th time it's happened for me in real life. So I was just giggling. I said, yep, that happens for me a lot. I'm pretty accurate that way. So
that's great. Well, I have the sense, I know this isn't like a one-on-one call, but it might be nice if you want to set something up, you can actually kind of see what this visual, it doesn't have to be a sales call, but you can kind of see what we're doing and also help you get some clarity, because my sense is you are very gifted. It's kind of a matter of orienting it in a way that you can get paid what you're worth consistently, and also probably a little bit out of like the one-off session thing, so that people really have a consistent journey with you, where like there's this huge benefit to having a psychic in your corner. right? So kind of reorienting some of your messaging, really capturing a lot of these testimonies so that you can kind of move into this space where I just really feel you're valuing yourself as just as much as the pricelessness of what you actually are offering. So I'll kind of leave it at that for now, but that's kind of like,
yeah, I do have like CEOs and CFOs who use me a lot, which is kind of rare. And I've even had nonprofits use me.
Yeah,
and it's, I'm kind of like, I don't advertise. It's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, good.
So yeah.
That's because it works.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to chat if you want to kind of get it a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, thank you. I would love
Yeah,
to
of course.
so much. And I've been taking care of my dad. I've been like a nonprofit, I guess you'd say, not-for-profit healer for ages too. And I've taken care of my dad for 13 years now, and he's going to be 104 in September. So,
oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday to him. And this is the thing is that I understand that many of us, we have like a lot of different things pulling at us, right? Like we have, maybe we're sandwiched, or we have aging parents, or we have other things going on. So it's sort of looking at like our time and where we can really, put our energy so that we can kind of have it all sink into alignment. Just really helping to anyone who's sitting here to scale past these $10,000 months with energetic alignment. So I'm happy to have, a call with anyone who, if we're not already working together, or even if we are, so we can do it. It's sort of like where we're taking us from where we are now. When you identified some of those things, identifying that in and of itself is helping you go from where you are now to your desired state, whether that is through energy clearing, whether that is through, doing the, some of the, what is it called? The aligned action, some of it is just reorienting that clarity so you can actually move to the desired state. That's kind of like the nexus and the in between. And as I was mentioning, oh God, yeah, this is our dear Patricia, who's right here. And, when she came to me, she had mentioned kind of going through a dry spell. And then we had an energy shifting call and immediately had some, new clients come into her world. I remember she wrote me, we broke the curse. So that was a really beautiful celebration. And this is the thing, and in terms of making these decisions, right? He's making these energy over decisions. It's like the more we can lean into our intuition, and I know, Dawn, you understand this too. It's like when we can lean into that intuitive space of I know I need to work on clearing this piece. I know I need some more clarity on this piece. I know I need to get an aligned strategy. I trust this. I can take action. I can kind of rest my nervous system in that, versus the more leaky energy of like, well, I'll do it someday, or I'm going to keep repeating these same patterns, and I'm going to keep having this wonky, relationship with money in these maybe 10K months, but then 2K months, or I'm going to just get paralyzed and not make a decision. This is where sometimes life makes decisions for us. And, I talked to some people who like, they really just don't want to go back to a corporate job. Like they really want to make this work. And so it's very helpful to them to have an aligned strategy to clear the things so they can do it in a way that's also restful within their nervous system. And so really quickly, for those of you just to kind of know how I work, I do have a spiritual scaling program. We do 12 months. Some people do longer, like 6 months, where we do an acceleration. It's helping just doing the shifting with the limiting beliefs, taking aligned action, and also having the strategy, the systems, and accountability. And it's really true. What gets tracked gets done. And then, I think for some people, it's like, well, I need this or that before I do another program, or I'm not consistent, or I'm not ready to show up or be visible. Like, that's why we do the energy shifting. I'm not consistent, but that's why we create the consistent strategy. I haven't really picked my niche. That's why we do the clarity. The timing isn't right. Well, a lot of that goes back to our fears. Is it ever right? We're busy. We got aging parents. I need clients before, whenever I've invested in myself, I invested in crypto. I made some money off of crypto. If I'm going to invest in something, my goal is to make that back, right? And so that's where I really love seeing people make back like well beyond whatever they've invested in working with me. And so in terms of like a 12-week roadmap to at least 10K, you're getting the clarity, a real roadmap for yourself, your clear audience. We bring in some intuitive stuff like channel writing, which I feel like we get the greatest wisdom through that. The clearing through the rapid recoding with the hypnosis. The Akashic records to dive even deeper into that inner wisdom with your soul. And then we get into co-creation mode where you are taking aligned action. As you do that, we get to recalibrate what's working, what's not working. We can also look at your human design. You might already know it, but it can be super helpful if you don't already know that. We're making sure we have our big vision map so that you have your energy-based growth, and always coming back to the accountability piece. So this is sort of something that I wanted to just share with you. If you're interested in kind of learning more about that, we can chat. In the meantime, I have something fun. If you're enjoying this and just curious if you've been enjoying this so far, you've gotten some value out of this so far, it's been helpful. If there's something in particular that's been like an aha for you, I'd love to hear about that. Something that maybe, just sort of like brought it more to light, or you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I realize this is like a thing for me to kind of dive into. Sylvia, is there anything like that for you that you've gotten from our time together? You set an intention, so did we deliver?
Look, the whole concept of energy work and releasing, probably for me, I've never experienced it at a level other than me intentionally working at overcoming what is a barrier for my progress.
Mm-hmm.
And considering the opportunity of having assistance in letting that happen is very intriguing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's intriguing. It's exciting. It's like, oh, that sounds great, right?
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. I'm just curious for you, Lexi, if there's any particular nugget you pulled out of our time together.
Yeah, for me, it was a lot, and the theme that's come up a lot this week is around that parent-child relationship. So that again is, for me, was the confirmation that that's where the blocks are, and kind of listening to you and kind of really relating to that kind of rubber band that kind of holds us into that place. And now that's given me a lot to think about, actually. So that's been really, really useful, and really cemented in what's been coming through kind of from spirit over the last week as well. So thank you.
Yeah, no accidents, right? Yeah.
Never an accident.
Yeah, thank you. And Jen, what about for you?
I would actually second that parental rubber band thing. Because I've been working with you, and I have been going through a lot of this energetic clearing. And even as we were talking today, I feel like I had some other epiphany about some of the things, like the messaging that I got in my family. And so it's very enlightening and kind of gives me that information to know what I need to work on and clear moving forward. So
Good, good. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's always good to hear, that's what we came for. We came for something. So, getting those nuggets, those takeaways is important. So I do want to mention, of course, anyone who wants to, see what to unlock to scale to your 10K months and beyond, feel free to, set up a free call with me. I'm happy to do that. And in the meantime, in 2 weeks or so, I'm offering this Big Vision Bootcamp where we're gonna, move through this manifesting mastery, the business strategy, and the business energetics. And so, of course, there's always energy clearing when you're in my world. So there will be a piece of energy clearing. This is really going to be a done with you. I really, I go through things and I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm so busy now. I actually have to go do that thing. We're actually going to do stuff. How does that sound? You're going to walk away with things that you've done, and you can see the results from what you've done. You'll see it in a post that you create. So we're going to do some, energy alignment, kind of untethering some of those ties we're speaking of, some business strategy, especially in terms of like how we can actually post energetically that can get immediate results, and you'll see immediate results. And then the business energetic. So, walking away with some weekly actions you can do right away. So there's no waking up guessing, like, what am I going to do today? Because I've been there. So this is a 2-day boot camp. And you're also going to get a one-on-one call with me, which can be a soul business vision map. If you actually want to use that for hypnosis, I'm happy to do that instead. So that's up to you how you want to use that. If you are already working with me, this is free. You're invited. You just get to come. So yay. And I just wanted to, I think we're going to Vegas also. So the dates are going to be the 15th and 16th of August. It's a Thursday and Friday, from 10 to 12 Pacific. So whatever time that is for you in your world, I can put that on here. And if I can send this to you too, if you're like, what is that? So it's August 14th to 15th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So, you can basically get like the gist of what we just went over here. We're going to have time to go more in depth, and for you to, it's really important for me that you walk away with some tangible results. So that's what we're going to do. And I just sort of for inspiration, I just wanted to bring up Evan, who I mentioned him earlier. He does brand stories. He wanted to shift from 50K to 100K months. He was afraid of what would happen with his friendships. And then when we unlocked that, he gained self-trust. He really got empowered to speak up as more of a leader with some of the people he was working with. And I saw it all go down. I made a major, major shift with his business partners, and they went on to generate $300,000 in sales, and then another $100,000 in sales, or whatever. It's like 6 figures, so whatever exact number. But that's, to me, the beauty of unlocking these energy shifts. When I mentioned before, you might have the strategy, but we're holding back because of the energy. So when that lined up, those are some of his results. So, and then just to kind of leave you, what is your next step? What is the next step you're going to take? And you can kind of use this if you want to as sort of a little bit of an outline. So does anyone have any questions around the boot camp? Who's coming? Who's coming to boot camp?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I scanned the QR code. Thank you very much. I got to the page where I could register for the 2-day thing. How much is that?
90.
No. That's very clear on there. And this, what I thought just now was this might not be appropriate for this venue, but how much is the 12-month program?
Oh, the 12-month program is 3,000.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other questions on anything we went over? Patricia, you coming to boot camp? Yeah. She's not a yes. Jen, you coming? She'll be there.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We're gonna have some fun. Yeah, and then just kind of like, I love to leave you with something that you're moving forward with. Like, what is your next step? And happy to have you, if you want to, put that in the comments, or just to let us know. Randy, what's the next step for you?
I'm a maybe for the August 14th and 15th, I think it was. I scanned it, so it's in my Safari. I think that would be great way to, see how you work, see if it's, something I want to, go on a 12-month safari, right?
Yeah.
And discover something that, that's where the rubber hits the road.
Exactly. It sounds really good.
And I
Yeah.
love that you said these are things that we'll be doing. What you didn't say was then not talking about, like not talking about it. You'll have things completed at the end of the
Yes.
call.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. No, I've sat through enough things where I'm like, ugh, I have to go do all this stuff. Like, just give me a second. I can just do it right now.
Yeah, totally.
I'm busy, you know, stuff to do. Yeah. Beautiful. Sylvia, what's your next step?
Well, I certainly have seen you be successful, and it's great to see you deliver this content to us. Thank you very much for sharing your energetic world. It's foreign to me, but I'm definitely going to have a closer look into energy and see where it goes. Thank you so much for introducing me to it.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's a really beautiful journey. There was a time that I didn't know about it either. And here we are. I think it unlocked a lot. I know, Lexi, you kind of live in the world of energetics, so I'm curious, you know, your thoughts on being in the energetic world, just as an astrologer. And
Yeah, so from an astrology perspective, at the moment, literally, it is a really good time to be thinking about your kind of your boundaries, your inner child healing, just watching all the kind of wounding coming up from the inner child. So Chiron's gone retrograde in Aries, so until December, we've got a real time to kind of look at all that healing essentially. And I've always found that with doing so much energetic work, it's like the eternal onion. There is always somewhere else to go. If there's not just this lifetime to clear, there are past lifetimes, there are ancestral traumas to clear. So it's kind of one of the biggest adventures you can have, because you're peeling away the layer of who you think you are, and then the next one comes, and the next one comes, and the next one comes, and it's the eternal journey of the shadow that we face the fear, to move us forward, that I always find, and I've got a lot of planets in Scorpio, incredibly transformative. So again, you know, you're starting to combine this with a aligned strategy, and you know, this is kind of the recipe for the rest of the year, isn't it? You know, we can align ourselves to it, do the shadow work, and move forward. So that's my 2 pence worth on the astrology.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. Man, are you right on about that, about the inner? We've, like, several people have been like inner child stuff, right? Myself included. And what I love about this is, especially in this method, and you know what I do with the group or one-on-one programs, is we have this rapid release. So even with the boot camp, we have a method now, right? It no longer has to hold us back. We don't have to be afraid of it. We can dive full force, like, oh, I see that. Okay, let's do it. Let's take care of it. Really, I think that to me is the beauty of not just having strategy with the business, because we're more than the business, right? And these things, they flow out into other parts of our lives, with our relationships with our parents, with our, you know, in other areas too, with our ability to feel like constrained or free, in terms of who we are and our soul's expression in the world. So I appreciate that. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming. This has been a pleasure. Any other questions, comments? I am here for. You can feel free to hit me up one-on-one as well if you want to chat further, or, you know, see what we can do to help you scale to those 10K and above months. Be happy to see you in August if you are coming. And yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, thanks for coming. I will see you all around the Facebooks.